This year I set the record on the Appalachian Trail, and I did it self-supported, which means I had to carry all my own food and water the entire time. I was trying to consume like 8,000 to 10,000 calories, depending on the time of the trip, and I mailed myself all of it. I made boxes full of food, up to like 3 pounds a day, and this is what I ate. So I'd mail myself a flat rate box. About 5 of these had shoes in them. I had a shoe mishap where I mailed myself 2 left shoes, but we'll get into that a different time. So let's go into what I ate. So I did a training camp out in the Northeast in New Hampshire and Maine, and I found that I just could not eat nuts. My diet of nuts was not a good idea. All nuts all the time, not perfect. Peanuts I got so sick of quickly. So I needed to diversify. Also, I'm a very salty sweater. I have been tested. They said I'm salty. So I needed a lot of sodium in my diet. I wanted something diverse to change it up because I was getting tired of just trying to exist off nuts all the time during the training camp. And so this is what I came up with, and this is what worked. This is 1 day of food. It would be about 3 pounds. And let's get into it. What would be in a resupply box? So depending on how many days, I would have this times multiple days. So meat stick, you got to have your meat sticks. Obviously, if nuts aren't working, grab a meat stick. And then a staple, I don't like peanut butter, but I found sunflower seed butter I could tolerate, and I just treated these like a gel. So I'd have like 3 a day. They have 20 grams of fat, 220 calories, 6 grams of protein, and they're just really easy to eat. And I just bought them in bulk online. And so this was just a major staple because it was just a quick hit of 220 calories. And then during the training camp, I kind of found that I needed more than just snacks all day. I wanted a transition food, like a dinner food. I'm not a big breakfast person, but dinner has always been like a meal that I enjoy having something more substantial. What did I come up with? Cold soaking. I've never been a cold soaker, but I used ramen. And the main reason is because there's 1,600 milligrams of sodium in this. And I need a lot of salt, especially in the humidity of the East. So this is what I chose. I would, about an hour before sunset, I would crunch this up, put it in a Talenti jar, soak it in water. An hour later, it's as good as gold. If gold was lukewarm, slimy, and mildly satisfying. Ramen, baby. And then salt pills, I would have maybe 1 an hour, depending on how hot things were, what my sweat rate was. That would really depend on how many salt pills I was taking. But I always had them with me. Maybe every 3 or 4 boxes would have more salt pills. And that's what I did. A lot of bars, because out there, my diet was mostly snacking. This was the Kodiak cake bar. They're very crumbly. Think of like a crumb explosion. You'd never want to eat these in your bed. But 210 calories for an ounce and a half. So that's not terrible. It's like 140 calories an ounce, which is kind of the baseline. Unless I really love the food, it's got to be 140 calories an ounce or more. Another snack food, yogurt, little balls, 80 calories, just something different, kind of in that fruity vein, because eating was a chore. Fueling my body with food and hydration was like the major thing I had to have going all the time out there. So I just needed a bunch of diversity because for 45 days, I just had to eat high calorie foods and aiming at 10,000 calories. Actually, at the end of the trail, Allison asked what I wanted to eat when I finished, and it was like, I don't know. I am so sick of eating. So they brought pizza. Pizza's good, but ice cream's the best. They also had a bunch of ice cream for me because it was on sale. And Talenti, my favorite ice cream. Now you know. All right, Dots pretzels, because I love them. They're 130 calories for 1 ounce, which is not my 140 calorie baseline, but I do enjoy these. So I make an exception because I think of food as you want to have 80% that is like really good in the macros are perfect, high calories per ounce, and then 20% that's psychological, because it's so much of a mental game out there when you're going for a 45-day record that you just want to have something that makes you happy at the end of the day or during a low or something. So vanilla wafers, similar vein, just the sweet version of basically Dots pretzels, 130 calories for 1 ounce. And then a bunch of snack things. These are basically just like little sugar things, but that'd be good when it was like early in the morning or late at night, just something to kind of suck on and get some calories when I was kind of tired of chewing and not that into eating. So something easy to eat. And then this is the big one. I made my own drink mix. It has chia seed, peanut butter powder, protein powder, coconut milk powder. And this is about 6 ounces and it's 1,000 calories. I would have it every single morning and I would just sip on it for the first hour of the day. I could put caffeine in it. I did have some caffeine in it and yeah, it just worked really good. It has a bunch of protein and some of the things that just aren't in the normal snack food that I had. Trail mix, because I was on a trail, you got to have trail mix apparently. So this is 2 ounces. Yeah, trail mix, trails, baby. I love these cereal bars. I know it's like 1 ounce for 100 calories, but they just taste good. And so, you gotta find the psychological things that are going to improve your day. Cheez-Its, psychological realm, not too worthwhile with calories per ounce. And then I had a bunch of these Stroop waffles. Some had some had caffeine, some did not, and they're just easy to snack on. The first year of Cocodona, when I'd never run an ultra marathon longer than 50 kilometers, which is 30 miles for those of you in the US, I ate like 120 of these. I basically only ate these. They were at every aid station and I just kept grabbing them because to me, it was basically just hiking with trail magic at every aid station. That's how I treated it. All right, Dots pretzels, more of them. Another Stroop waffle. This box was actually returned because resupplies got all out of whack and I had a couple extra boxes that were flexible that I didn't have to pick up if the timing and the schedule didn't work out and the locations closed a little early. So I did have some redundancy, but I didn't have that redundancy in the one section where my box didn't show up. So I tried my best, but didn't work out. So this is an actual box with the actual food I was going to eat for one day. Ritz Bites, super easy snack things. And then chips, gotta live Moss. 230 calories for 42 grams, which is like 160 calories per ounce. So very good. Lots of sodium in here too, 200 milligrams. So salty, right in the vein, and they taste good. So many different kinds of chips. I got these fava bean packs from Costco. Fava beans is such a weird name, but here we are. In 1 ounce, it has 110 calories. It has 8 grams of protein though, so I thought the nutritionals of having more protein was worth it. So I went with fava beans, 8 grams of protein. 2 of those, and you basically hit a protein shake. Candy bar, because who doesn't love candy? I love Twix. I love Reese's Fast Break. Twix don't seem to get hurt so much when they melt, so that's why I went with Twix, most of it. Banana chips. These are like 160 calories an ounce, 150, I believe. I got them in bulk at Winco bulk food section, and I got all those bulk food bags, and that's what I packaged each day in, so that in my pack it could be just like each day I knew what I had to eat. Simplify it, take out all the decision making. This was probably 500 calories. I wrote on the bags, but it's worn off this one. And then the secret. This is a bar that my mom created with some taste testing from me, and we talked about it for a while. And they're really good. And they're like 1,000 calories, and they're 6 to 7 ounces, depending on how they're cut. But they're just really easy to just eat a chunk at a time, and you're getting hit with protein, light on the sugar, which is the carb that kind of sucks your energy or makes you ride in waves throughout the day. So these are really good. Maybe I'll post the recipe if there's interest in those. Squirrel's nut butter, every couple resupplies I would put this in there because chafing is real when there's a lot of humidity out there. And it's EAT, so there's lots of humidity. One more nutter butter thing, 140 calories an ounce, so not terrible. And then since I'm such a salty sweater, there's 2 types of sodium. There's sodium chloride, and then there's sodium citrate. Sodium citrate's easier on your stomach, and that's usually what I'll do when I make my own drink mix. But since I wanted something prepackaged, easy to just pour into water bottles and drink, throughout the day and keep adding and know exactly what I'm getting. I went with Element because it's 1,000 milligrams, so I just know what I'm getting. And my sweat rate, or my sweat content, is about 1,500 milligrams of sodium per liter of sweat. So that's very high. And this is sodium chloride, so it's harder on my stomach, but I was moving at a lower rate of perceived exertion, a lower effort level, basically hiking most of the time. And so I wasn't too worried about this impacting my stomach. I did a lot of testing with all of this food and way more. And so this is what I used. I would probably have 3 to 5 of these a day, depending on the section, how much I was sweating, the temperature, all those sorts of things. I put a pair of socks. These are the Exo Toes by Exoskins in every single box. They seem to be a little bit more durable than a lot of the other toe socks out there, and toe socks help you avoid blisters. Even when my feet got wet, I didn't suffer too many blisters. I got some big calluses, and I would always have 2 pairs of these at a time because I would rotate throughout the day. About early afternoon, I'd switch, or if my feet got wet or if they felt bad, I'd just change socks real quick. And then I would change the older pair out at every resupply. Last thing in all my resupply boxes was a power bank, and it was very carefully calculated how much power I needed to keep my tracker charged, my watch charged, my phone charged, and my headlamp charged. So sometimes it was 10,000 milliamp hours, sometimes it was 20,000, and this was calculated, and then it was thrown off when Shenandoah lost my box. But those are stories for a different day. So this is for what I took, just set the Appalachian Trail, self-supported record in 45 days when eating became a chore.